All right, I think we are officially live. Hello, everybody. We are doing our Hangout, our Glassbox podcast. Hangouts Monday nights. You know how the game goes. Just checking everything, making sure everything is coming through. The stream is starting and everything's looking good. Shannon, what are we doing today?
Oh, we are here let's see, what all are we doing here? We're sorry. We are here to talk about what's going on these days, answer a few questions, whatever, just kind of discuss whatever's going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've got, we're a little far away from the next general conference, relatively speaking, like
yeah.
6 weeks,
But it
maybe
always it
5.
always sneaks up on me every single time it comes
Oh
around.
God, yes, it
The
does.
worst.
That's the thing I hate.
But yeah, so also if you're a patron supporter at patreon.com/glassboxpod, you should check your inbox here within the next few minutes, and you should have a link to join the panel discussion if you would like to join us. So I'm gonna send that out, and yeah, let's do that. Let's message our members here.
Yes, let our people know. Let our people go. Oh, sorry. No, wrong movie.
Uh,
So
And
yeah.
send. Okay. All right. So that is now sent out. Everybody should have a link to that. Okay. So yeah, here we are. We are rolling. How have you been doing, Shannon, while we're waiting for people to kind of trickle in?
I'm doing all right. The dragon lair is done.
Hmm.
You can see the only puzzle I have ever glued together behind me on the wall. That is it.
It is a
Um,
magnificent puzzle.
it is. It
It
really
is,
is.
I mean, to describe it for people who are just listening instead of watching, it is a dragon form. So the puzzle, it doesn't have any straight sides. It's like in the cutout of a dragon. And it
Yeah.
looks like a city or like a temple and like legions of soldiers within all of like the skin of the dragon.
Yes.
And he's holding a
It
ball of
has
light.
so much of that.
It's
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
the wings are out, and on one side of the wings you see these knights riding through a forest. On the other side, you've got the castle, and you've got all this stuff going on everywhere. You've got things down in the feet, like on the feet there, you've got. I should point this way where people can see where I'm pointing. Like this is like a baby dragon and eggs and stuff. There's the flaming drag, the main dragon is flaming. Anyway, all this stuff. It's the first shaped puzzle I was ever given. And I've had it for 20 years. And finally decided last year, I think it was, that, well, no, not this. The last time I put it together was last year, but the time I put it together before, I realized that the edges of the pieces were kind of rubbing off enough that they weren't locking together as easily,
Mm,
and I could
right.
almost just like slide them apart without like lifting anything. And I was like, okay, yeah, next time I
It's
do this,
time.
I'm gonna glue it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually tried puzzle glue, which didn't work. And then I just finally got tired of it. So I just took rubber cement on the back of
Oh,
it
there you
and
go.
just did that and glued it onto one of those it's a plastic board that looks like corrugated cardboard,
Okay.
but it's a plastic instead of cardboard. And then I had to take a little box cutter knife and very carefully cut out all around the edge of
Uh-huh.
it.
Uh-huh.
Because
Fantastic.
a white background would look stupid with this. And it did. It looked really stupid if it was just, this big white square. Because that's first what I thought of doing is framing it. And so I thought, okay, if I have it as the big square, but then I realized there's no frames to match the size of this thing because it's like 4 feet by 3 feet.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's huge. It is. And, but maybe not quite 4 feet. It's like three and a half, like 42, 44 inches, something like that, by 36 or 37 inches, kind of thing. So anyway, it's just an odd shape. When I used to put it together on just a regular card table, I had to angle it very specifically so that none of the edges fell off. And it was like the tips of the two wings plus the tip of the tail, the top part of the tail, were like running over the
Just
edge of the
barely hanging
table.
on by the edge of their fingertips. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was another reason for getting a larger puzzle table, that and to be able to put it together a 3,000 piece puzzle.
Right.
But
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, so I glued it together and then cut out all the little bits and then hung it up that way. So anyway, it has pride of place right behind me.
Hmm.
And what here, I'll tip my thing a little bit more. This thing up here, this right here, it's metal and it's actually a letter opener. The
Ah, very
blade is
cool.
the tail is the blade and it goes into the body of it. And so it's one of my many dragon knives.
Yes, I've seen a couple of those at least.
You've seen a few. I think you've seen like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
seen the one that's the length of Sting, the
Hmm.
size of Sting, basically, that's on the wall. That's my biggest one. Um, yeah, so anyway.
And I've also seen the
Yeah, there's a
cane. I
few.
guess it's not I've seen the cane knife, but it's not a dragon cane, is it? It's just a regular cane with a sword in it.
Though that wasn't mine. That was Gazalem's.
That was Gazalem's. I'm sorry, that was not yours. You're right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
my
Yeah,
mistake, my mistake.
it's okay because you were debating on which cane to use, but I do have
Yeah,
a
that's right.
cane, a carved dragon cane that
Yes.
my brother made for me that's in this room now. We used to have a walnut tree out front, but it had to come down because it was sick. And my brother took one of the branches and carved me this dragon where the handle of it's the head, and then the body is wrapping around the cane on the way down. It
Hmm.
has wings that he nailed in there, but everything else is attached. And so I love it.
It's a cool cane. It's
It
really cool.
is. It is. It's pretty damn sturdy too. And I'm like, this would make a good weapon too.
Yeah, just in case. You never know when you're
Just
gonna
in
need to
case.
whack someone with a dragon cane.
You never know. I mean, I worked on training myself on how to use one as self-defense years back when my spouse went on deployment. The first deployment, there was a rash of attacks on the wives that stayed home,
Hmm.
and houses were robbed, the women were attacked, all that kind of stuff. And so I was preparing myself. So there were various things around the house then. Um, I had trained my child on, if I yelled code 5, what was she to do? Which was to lock herself in the bathroom, hide in the bathtub, and call 911 on the cell phone,
Hmm.
and to stay in the bathtub until me or the police came and got her, no matter what she heard, kind of thing. And, um, those things. And so, but I had things all over. So it's like one of the things I loved collecting as well, not quite to the extent of dragons, but is polished rocks,
Uh-huh.
um,
Okay.
which I've always loved. I
Yeah.
mean, I always wanted to be able to make ones of my own, And so my parents, when they would go hiking in Moab and Bryce Canyon and whatever, anytime there was a gift shop that had those, they would buy some for them because dad loved them, but they would also get me some. So some of them are shaped, one of which is a pyramid,
Very cool.
which has always been kept in a very handy spot
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Very
because I
nice.
know how to grab that and how to have a point because there's like 5 points on it,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
not
right?
five, 4 points because it's a triangle pyramid.
Triangle
And
pyramid.
so, is that right? Yeah. So it has the 3 points and then the one coming up. And so I know how to grab it. So you can use a point, any of the points anyway,
There you go. There you go.
I
I
can be
mean,
violent.
when the time calls for it, uh, when the
Yes,
need
if I'm
arises.
attacked,
Just like every
which has
dragon
never happened.
remains dormant until it is forced out of its slumber.
Exactly. And I'm like, yeah, what I also need to do is have like cinnamon capsules nearby because, I take those for my diabetes. And I know if I burp fairly soon after taking one, I
It's
get
dragon
cinnamon
breath.
coming out. I was like, this is breathing flames.
Hope you're having a good time.
Yes, very much so. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Julie.
Hello, hello.
Jeff is we're glad to have you back on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
I
much
We've
just
so.
missed you.
forgot the last several, and just stuff happens, and ADHD brain kicks in. But
What,
Shannon
you think
reminded
you
me.
have a life outside of Glassbox? No, you
Only
don't.
sometimes.
So yes,
Can't get enough.
that's right. So anyway, yes, Dragon Lair. This is the little bit that non-patrons get to see. If you want to see all of it, you got to be a patron. That's where the video is posted of the whole room, where there's still like 15 that I forgot to show
I
Bryce.
do have to say, with the current lighting and the camera, the wall does not look yellow enough.
It doesn't. And
In
it's because
person,
I've
it
got
looks a
this,
lot more like
yeah.
gold than
And
the camera is showing right now.
I think it's the blue light from the computer screen.
Okay, yeah, that
And
makes sense.
so, because
Makes it
that would mix
it is
with
almost
it.
greenish. It's like
I know.
it's not the gold dragon layer right now.
No,
But I know in person it actually is. That's what really matters, you know.
that's what really matters. Because I'm the one that gets to sit in here and just stare at everything.
Yeah.
And yes, I do. And then I'm like, oh, somebody sends me more stickers. Where would I put them?
I mean,
So
for that
anyway.
matter, if people send you more dragons, where are you going to put those?
Yep, I've got so many places. And that's another thing too. I realize is that pictures, they can go further down the wall if I need to.
There you go.
So
I
anyway,
see. I see some real estate behind you there.
there's some. There is some.
There's still a little bit of room.
It's just fun. It's so fun to just let loose and do it. And it's like men have a man cave, I have a dragon cave. We're
Mm-hmm.
set.
There's
That's what
nothing
it
wrong with
is.
that. Yep.
Nope. So I do have fun. So how's everybody else?
I'm looking at Bryce's stuff on the shelves. You got
Yes.
Yeah.
some cool model cars, and I think that's the
Which
chameleon from Tangled.
it is not specifically. It is actually a chameleon that was gifted to me at Element 11 of all places. A person there was
nice.
giving out a bunch of hand crocheted goods, and the little chameleon was part of it. And
Fun.
she did say it was a salamander. So, you know, that's
We like
yeah.
that even better.
I like that even better. Yeah. But I do have to take some of them down because I was just gifted. Actually, let me just scoot off of camera for a second and grab one of these. I was just gifted a set of Encyclopedia Americana.
Holy shit.
And I think it's a 1911 publication or something to that
Wow.
effect.
Wow.
So now I need to clear a bunch of automobiles off of the shelf in order to put up a new set. Yeah, copyright 1912. Because they're really cool. I mean, I don't have any use for
Yeah.
them other than just being decor like the Journal of Discourses set, right? Like it just
Right.
looks nice to have an entire set, and that's an entire set minus one, like book 16 or something like that is
Yeah.
missing.
Who gave
Okay.
you
Um,
How many? I was
those?
gonna say, how many volumes?
I think 18 volumes in total or something
Okay.
to that effect. And they were given to me by my uncle,
Oh,
um,
okay.
along with a couple of other keepsakes that came from my grandpa as well. So I was happy to get those
Uh,
as well.
Nice.
Um, yeah. So hey, boxes full of books. I'm a happy camper.
yeah. See, now I would be like, okay, now I need another bookcase.
I'm thinking about it because I
I
like the
wouldn't be
display setup.
clearing. Yeah, I wouldn't be clearing anything out. I'd be like, no, I need another bookcase. That's what it is.
And nobody
Yeah.
has ever commented on this, but I do want to share it with the panel here. So this is a book I got forever and ever and ever ago, and it's just a supercar book, right? And with a McLaren SLR McLaren on front. But look what Annie, how she vandalized this this book. Y'all see them googly
She gave
eyes on
you
that
googly
Oh, I see it
Mercedes?
eyes.
now. That's fun.
Oh, okay.
So I'm always being watched at
Oh
all
my God, that's
times.
funny. That's so funny. Oh my God.
It fits
Somebody
so
did
well.
that at it does. Somebody did that at the hospital I go to all the time for cardiac rehab, the American Fork one. Because they have because the roof is basically flat, so you've got specific kind of gutters that come down and come out, for the water to come out of. And so it goes down through the building actually, and then out the wall. And so it has this little spout out the wall. And so somebody went around, put googly eyes at every one of them. So it's more like a gargoyle.
Excellent.
And everything is just really funny. Made me laugh when I realized it one day walking up to the door.
Well, see, when we
That's
first
funny.
moved into this house, we had like I just had picked up like a craft set of googly eyes, a whole bunch of different styles and sizes and everything. And when we moved into the house and we got like our, first and second set of like cheap and bargain bin and gifted furniture and everything, and started hanging up pictures and stuff, it was about 2 months in that I was like, "Hey, where did the googly eyes go?" And Annie was like, "What googly eyes?"
Googly eyes.
And
I don't know
proceed to
anything.
spend the next, numerous months throughout the house finding things that have been googly-eyed and vandalized in all sorts of creative ways. And I don't think I've found all of them even still. Like there were a lot more googly eyes in that little package than I have actually found around the house. But yeah, it's vandalism everywhere here.
That's funny. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me with dragon stickers.
I'm muted.
Oh,
Googly eyes
there
are
you go.
fantastic for vandalizing. I've worked from
They are.
home for over 10 years. And so when I would go into company office or whatever, I would take some and just like
Yes.
go to the salespeople's phones and just stick it everywhere. Some of the eyes fell apart in my backpack, and I use this vertical mouse. And this eye found its way onto the vertical mouse on the interior because it's got like a hole through it, and so I've left it there for it's been there for years now. But
That's right.
it's fun.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Yep. We have essentially three motifs in our house: googly eyes, ducks. I don't know. I have a few ducks hanging up here. And like that's part of Annie's like teaching is rubber duck decoding. When you're
Mm.
like when you're writing code, it can help to have, like sit down a little rubber ducky and talk through your code. And sometimes you'll just figure out the problem just by talking it through the duck. So it's rubber duck decoding. So she gets, boxes of rubber ducks that she gives out to her students every year. And of course, numerous of them find their way to our house on various shelves and hidden in little nooks and crannies. And then butts. We got butts everywhere. We got, I don't know if I can actually get this, but no, I can't take it off of there. We got this buttress pillow. I fell victim to a social media ad that it's just a pillow that looks like a butt, and it's wonderful. So I had to get one for Annie as a Christmas present, and it came with two little gift bags full of like little tiny silicone butts. So those are everywhere throughout the entire house, and it's fantastic.
You
That's
even
fun.
have pots, planter pots that are
Yes, I
butts.
do. Yep.
I have face pods, but you have butt pods.
Yes. Uh,
I had seen those when I was started getting well, I had originally bought a Jane Austen face um planter pot. And so because I got that, then on Amazon I got all the recommended things, and then I was seeing all sorts of face pots, and they are
mhm.
so cool, and I couldn't turn down any of them, so I didn't. And I think my favorite is the coffee cup one, but I have some that are a little bit more minimalist that were some of the first ones I got. And one of them, I call it my teenager because the succulent plant in it has these long strands coming down, and they're hanging over the face and all this stuff.
It looks like a like emo face teenager.
Oh yeah, it's
Amazing.
great. So yeah, those are everywhere in my kitchen, my living room, my bedroom.
Hmm.
The only room they're not in is, well, I don't have them in the bathroom, but also they're not in the dragon lair. I actually don't have any plants in here because I'm like, what dragon would have plants in their place? Even
Depends on
though
the plant.
even though I have two dragon plants, one's a dragon tree and the other is a dragon tongue. And when I saw the dragon tongue at Home Depot, I looked at it and it was kind of dry and everything, and it kind of looked a little sickly, but I was like, it's a dragon tongue. I have to buy this.
I mean,
So I
of
did. I
all
bought it.
plants to have in the dragon lair, I feel
Mm.
like a dragon tongue would be the right plant to have.
The
Just
problem
throwing it out there.
is it's in a face pot that's got a double pot, and it's like a mom and a child, and they
That's
have their
not
arms
very
around each other.
dragony.
That's not dragony. That's in
That's
my
not.
bedroom.
Okay. All right.
So,
That's fair.
and it's next to the Hummel of, because I have a Hummel that my grandpa, who had been in World War II, and when he was stationed in Germany, he got my grandma a bunch of Hummels. And so I have the one of the violin player. So because when my grandma died, my mom got all of her Hummels. And so then mom left them to very specific ones to each of us. One of the things that they used to do in American Fork when I was growing up is they called it the pageant of the arts. Did it every year, and they would pose specific artwork. And so they would have people do the posing. And so you would get statues, you'd get paintings, that kind of thing. Um, and Hummels were ones they did all the time. And
Okay,
so,
you had said the word enough that I had to Google it so I could know what you're talking about. So for anyone who
yeah,
doesn't know, Hummels are like those like I don't know, quintessential European little figurines of like children doing various tasks,
yes.
hanging out with birds or underneath an umbrella
Hmm.
or whatever. Okay, so
Yeah,
now I'm on the same page as the story.
And
yes.
they were in a
So,
subplot of Better Call Saul.
No
yeah,
kidding.
that's right.
Very cool.
That's what I heard. So yeah, things like there's the little postman, which is a boy holding up a letter that was done. One of two little girls under an umbrella, and a few others that some of my siblings had been in the pageant of the arts in. And so they got those, but of course the violin player was coming to me. It didn't matter. Even if it's somebody else opposed in it, since I was the only violinist in the family. So anyway, that was kind of fun. So it's there with that. Yeah.
And just
Fun
doesn't
stuff.
have a right place in the dragon lair.
No,
Just
it
the dragon
doesn't.
lair is for dragons.
It's for dragons.
Hmm.
So yeah, if I had a dragon pot, it might, but I haven't. Nothing like that has shown up in my Amazon feed.
Yet. Yet.
Nobody's invented that.
Hmm.
I've had book ones show up. These clear glass vase or clear plastic vases, they're acrylic vases that are shape of a book. And so the Pride and Prejudice one has shown up a lot. Custom ones have shown up a lot, all this kind of stuff. A friend of mine has been hinting at something, and because they wanted to know my favorite books, and I was like, oh, I think that's going to be coming to me, something like that. It's a vase, but anyway, we'll see. But anyway, that was fun. She's like, give me your 10 favorite books. I'm like, Gate to Women's Country, Ava, Pride and Prejudice, When Women
Uh,
Were Dragons.
yeah, hang on.
Um,
How many of your top 10 lists are actually Jane Austen books? I mean, you listed one
two,
there so far.
two.
Sensibility, Pride and
Well,
Prejudice,
no, Persuasion and Pride and Prejudice.
Persuasion. My mistake.
Sense and Sensibility of Jane Austen is my third favorite. Persuasion's actually my first. But yeah, there's others that come in. It's so hard for me to give a top 10 list. It really is. Um it comes down to which ones I have read more than 50 times. That's really what it comes down to. So there are ones like Gate to Women's Country and To Kill a Mockingbird and a few others that I will read pretty much every year. Um, and then stuff like that. So, but if I'm still reading them, then they are in that list. If I haven't read them for a decade because of whatever reason, then they're not on the list. Because there's some that I love the message of, but the author, I don't like where the author has gone personally,
Mm,
like Orson
okay.
Scott Card.
Hmm.
And that makes it that taints things a little bit. It doesn't change the message of the book itself, It really, to me, it doesn't. But it also is like, okay, I won't pay for anything new from this person because of the way they behave. It's like J.K. Rowling, um, even with all the flaws of the books, the Harry Potter books give the message that is the direct opposite of the message she gives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she outright said she's going to use the money for anti-trans stuff. So
she is.
yeah.
And because her top 3 stars from the movies are very adamantly pro-trans, she wants to do the movies again so she can obliterate their whole, legacy there. So she can obliterate anything they've said. She has publicly denounced them for what they've said and said how, they don't have a right to behave that way and all that shit. And I'm just like, okay, you're all about the money here.
Yeah, I mean,
You
at some level, you have to look at it from a completely cynical perspective. What does
Yeah.
somebody who was hot shit for 15 years for writing the best at the time children's novel series do
Right.
in order to stay relevant and to keep her
Exactly.
name, in and out of headlines, right? Like
Especially because she hasn't been
she's
able
caught
to write
onto a
anything as
grift.
good. She
Yeah.
has. And that's another
She's
thing
not
is
dropping
like,
it.
no, she's not going to drop it because really the Harry Potter series, when you take out everything fantastical about it, what you are really seeing is children realizing they are something different than they thought.
Yeah.
Muggle-born wizards are trans people. Things like that. And
The opening scene of Harry is literally him trapped in a closet.
Exactly. And there's the meme that's gone around and saying, Harry Potter teaches us nobody should live in a closet.
Yeah.
And which it does. It very much does, no matter how shitty she is now. And so I think that's the thing that's the saddest for me is how many trans people have been so dreadfully hurt by it because those books helped them through their teenage years of dealing with being trans. And I'm like, you just shit on your entire fan base, lady.
Yeah.
And she was a billionaire. I don't know if she still is, but she was,
I mean, I can't imagine that the gravy train has slowed since she's gone turf.
No.
Like
No,
that's
it
a reason
hasn't.
to keep the gravy train flowing for her.
Oh yeah, and then you have people that refuse to read the books that now do because she's turf.
Exactly.
Because they want to support her, and they go to her and she has a hell of a lot of control over anything with the Harry Potter name, and so they go to the theme park and they go all of these things, get into all of the games and whatever and stuff because of that. And it brought in an entire audience that wouldn't have come, except now because she's turf and she's openly turf to everybody and is a jerk about it. They just love it,
Exactly.
And we live in Trump world now, so of course they're going to be like that. So yeah, there's, I've heard from people who are like, it's wizards, it's evil, it's Satan. And I'm like, no. But now they're like, no, this is great because, I'm going to support her. I might not read the book, but I'm going to buy it anyway. And it's just, yeah, this shit. So it's hard. I mean, Orson Scott Card is not near as bad as she is about this. He's also a better writer, but there are a lot of flaws to the books but the underlying theme of it all is really good. But with Orson Scott Card, like Ender's Game is hands down the best thing he ever wrote. It is the best, and I probably read that more than most other books. Oh, I mean, there was one time well,
now
Shannon for a second.
That reminded me. I like random sci-fi, and so I haven't really seen much of what Orson Scott Card is as a person, and it's been several years since I watched this, but I ran across a very small one-season sci-fi series called Extinct, and I had a bit of a hard time finding it, but finally found it on BYU TV, and it was Orson Scott Card, and yeah, very very interesting, fun little sci-fi concepts. Probably like C-tier sci-fi for him, but I know it was still fun to see it fully produced. And someone that grew up in my ward was an extra in one of the like scenes. So yeah, so that was random.
He's Mormon. For a while there, he was at odds with the church. And it was about that same time when they were starting a science fiction fantasy creative writing class at BYU, and they were going to hire him. But then they were like, he's too controversial. So it ended up going to Doc Smith, who was one of the technical writing teachers there, and he ran it. And he was fantastic. He was the teacher until he died. But with the Card, he's very anti-LGBTQ plus. And it's just the whole spectrum of it all. He goes right in with what the church says on that. And so I don't know what his reasoning is on it, but when the Ender's Game movie was done, the entire LGBTQ plus community was boycotting it. And there were so many of them that also identified with parts of it. I mean, granted, the ones who do the most with Ender's Game are genius children. And those are the ones he got the most letters from, because they were like, you wrote our story. Because that's what they are. And so, the movie doesn't really show that, because you're not going to get a 6-year-old who can act and speak and talk like he's an adult as an actor. You're not going to find a bunch like that. It's just not going to happen. You don't even find 11-year-olds could do that. There's like Haley Joel Osment as a child could have played one of the roles in that, but you needed an entire cast where you only have like 5 adults in the whole film, in the whole story, so the film itself is vastly different. It has some of the core parts that are the same, but most of it's different. And so there's a much that misses the point with it, because of what the book is about. But these children were writing him just letter after letter after letter saying, you wrote about us, you told our story, and we finally feel seen, and we're not weird, and all that kind of stuff. And so, but it is a really incredibly good piece of literature. And it's one of few books that got both the Hugo and the Nebula Awards, which are the 2 biggest awards in the science fiction fantasy community. The sequel also got both awards, which rarely happens. Last time I looked, which was 30 years ago, there was less than 10 who had ever gotten, where a sequel had gotten it, the same things. But they were really super good. The 2 of them were. And you're following a flawed character in it. Kind of like Dune. Paul is a flawed character. And so it's hard for me with that, because watching Orson Scott Card show himself to be a piece of shit TBM Mormon and using his platform to cause damage like that's difficult. The church tried to use David Archuleta that way, and he just refused. And then his mom got pissed about all of that too and left, which I think is so wonderful. That's a hell of a lot of strength from both of them to do, because church pulls a lot of power, and Scientology does the same thing with their celebrities. And so, the Mormon church did it with the Osmonds when I was growing up. They've done it with others. They tried to with him, and they failed. Thank God in all of the universe that they failed with him, and that he's been outspoken about the failure with them, I think is great. So anyway, but that's the hard part that comes down to it with Ender's Game. But yeah, I once actually read it 3 times in a week because I was writing a paper on it.
I actually first learned the Ender's Game story on my mission.
Did you?
A board missionary had read it and was relaying the whole plot to me, because we weren't allowed to read books.
Nope, we weren't then. I did that about the movie Lady Hawk to one of my competitors. I knew the entire script. We were tracking this road that was like 8 miles long and had 3 houses on it or something. And I just gave her the entire thing word for word. I'm surprised she didn't hit me, you know.
Did you do the 80s synth music,
No,
interstitial
I
music?
didn't do
Okay.
that. Alan
Like, I remember
Parsons
my mom
Project.
watching that when I was a kid. It would be on TV, and I tried
Mhm.
watching it. Oh, it's got to be 10 or 15 years ago, and I was just like, this music
Yes.
feels so out of place now.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Does
need to give it
it
another
does
go.
now, but it was great then.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother one of my brothers laughs at the movie because of the music. I don't care because it's just that. That was one of the few vinyl records I bought was the soundtrack to Lady Hawk. That was the first time I went to a movie multiple times in the theater. Yeah,
All right,
Uh,
Bryce.
that was so
All
fun.
right,
brandishing the
I've got something
creds.
for you, Bryce.
Yeah.
You got, come on in. Come on in.
All right. Bring me in close.
Bring in, Bryce. It is time, as a fan of your work,
Uh-huh.
it is time to start the next phase of Naked Mormonism. This is just a truth. I know that you may think that it's not time, but it is time, and we are here for it.
Well, fair. Yeah, so I put some thought into it and I put some words on paper as well for how this is going to work out with Naked Mormonism. I'm going to essentially break the show up into 3 separate seasons. So first season is going to have been everything that has been recorded now. Second season is going to be kind of the entire succession tree of the various factions of Joseph Smith. So that will involve very rapidly going through the events of 45 through 47 and tracking all of the splinter groups and doing individual standalone series on each of those splinter groups in all the different directions. And the last of those various splinter groups that I will discuss will be the RLDS Church. And because that has the closest intermingling with the LDS Church throughout the entire LDS Church's history as well. So then that all of that put together as season 2, and those episodes will each of those series will be dedicated to each individual sect, and the number of episodes is going to vacillate with how much history they have associated with them. The temple lots, it doesn't look like it's going to be more than 3 episodes to get through them. The Stringites, that's going to be probably 6 or 7 episodes to get through them because there's a lot of really crazy history there. Anyway, so that'll be the entirety of season 2, and then season 3 is going to be Utah. And that will kind of, because season 2 will play with the timeline a lot, rapidly accelerating through it, going back in time multiple times to restart storylines. That will be the season 3 will essentially be the horizon for the podcast that I'll have to do in perpetuity throughout the universe because Utah history never ends.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you can do. If that's only 2 seasons, Utah's probably 42 seasons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly. And the seasons are not even grouped by number of episodes or by amount of airtime. They're just going to be grouped thematically, chronologically, I guess, is more accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, season 3 is Utah. But the trouble then, of course, is also getting people to stick around for season 2. People who are there for Joseph Smith and they want to hear the Brigham Young story, got to get them bought in and invested into season 2 of like, yeah, we got some crazy shit coming in Utah, but like we got to get through all these other succession movements first, because there's so much that happens in Utah that intermingles with a bunch of these different organizations and leading figures in them, and like got to lay all of that groundwork out in order to understand what the hell happens in Utah.
Right.
So that's the plan.
I was all ready to like answer your doubts and concerns and be like, no, you got it, but it sounds like I don't need to. We're in agreement then.
Well, that's the other thing too, is you do have to cover the succession crisis because
When it
that
gets crazy.
also created the beginnings of Brigham Young.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do the Emma and Brigham feud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
100%.
And especially you've got things like everything with him and the Smith boys
Mhm.
and everything he wanted to do there, but you have to cover what went on with them first. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. So that's kind of the struggle with it too. Is it's like we have the luxury now of compartmentalizing each of these various sects and factions into nice, tidy little boxes nowadays. But at the time that these factions were forming, things were a lot more vague. Things were very unpredictable, and people were just making a lot of times just gut reaction choices with what seemed to be the right choice at the right time, and that led to spiraling off into their own faction. So
Yeah.
like yeah, it is a bit counterintuitive as well, because like the job of the historian is to like describe the events in a sequence, a timeline that makes sense in order to build models. But this is not the work of historian. This is history communication, and in order to
Yeah.
communicate history, like I have to be a lot more fluid with what boxes we are using to define these various groups, especially when
Yeah.
they didn't even invent the lines that we currently use to divide them.
And so much had to do with geography because of communication and
Mhm.
everything else. I mean, communication took so long to get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
That's another thing you got to deal with there.
Yeah, I mean, and just like little things of like just the economic impact of Utah being the primary route for the telegram line from the East Coast to the West
Yeah.
Coast, and like how that impacted literally national government decisions that were made because the Mormons controlled all of the communication routes lines.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like simple things like that you wouldn't even give a second thought to. Like, no, we got to discuss this. We got to spend
Yeah.
a fair amount of time talking about how much work it is to maintain a telegram line and why there are cities
Yeah.
literally every 35 miles along I-15 to service the telegram route. And yeah, like
Yeah.
simple stuff like that.
Well, and also you couldn't, I mean, with telegrams, you had to keep it short and fucking very fucking short. I mean, that's another thing. It's like early tweets or what BlueSky is like, you're limited in your amount of words you can use. They were even more so. And so, because you were paying for every single word sent, and you couldn't send a long message. And so, not like a letter. And so, that's another thing you were dealing with then. So, communicating through those was difficult.
Yeah.
And then, like the first radio stuff, wasn't that 1890s?
Somewhere in there, I think
Sounds right.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like mid to late 90s. I was trying to remember. And the church used it. Oh hell, I'm trying to remember who it was the first one, which was the first prophet to actually broadcast over the radio. Ugh. Okay, I'll have to look it up.
Was it Grant?
I think it was before him.
Was it?
All right, I'm looking it up.
Okay.
First
Hinckley was probably there.
prophet. Yeah.
Sorry, that was not a nice joke.
Nelson was.
Maybe Joseph F. Smith.
It might have been F, yeah.
Yeah.
I might have been. Okay.
Feels like there's
First
a joke in there.
LDS
Press F to
prophet.
pay respects.
Oh,
That
it
old
was
meme.
Heber J. Grant.
Okay.
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 When he dedicated the Deseret News radio station, May 6th, 1922.
Interesting.
Okay.
Very interesting.
The Deseret News. God, fuck.
Wow.
Okay, that's a whole nother
Wow.
thing.
How interesting.
Yeah, I was
I-
thinking it was earlier than that, but
I was at
Yeah.
a tech conference shortly after my shelf broke, and leaned over to my coworker, and I was just like, "Yeah, see that guy over there? Yeah, he's a member of the church, and I've been talking about leaving Mormonism." And he's like, "How can you tell?" The guy had a Deseret News like as his company on the badge, so that's how I knew. But my coworker that knew basically nothing about Mormonism said, "Do you have like secret handshakes or something?"
Yep.
I was like, "Do you want me to show you?"
Yeah, we literally
I will for $1.
Yes.
You can buy anything with
I will
money.
give you anything for money. Oh my God, you gotta love that.
And
Yeah.
there's that clip of the comedian Taylor Tomlinson, and she's at a show, and there's an ex-Mormon in the
I
front
love
row,
her.
and she goes, the dude is like, "Oh yeah, I'll teach you the Mormon handshake," and he's like doing the finger thing, and she's like, "Oh, you're going up my sleeve," and she had to like pull up her sleeve. And she's like, it was very funny. I saw that the other day, and it
She's the
reminded me of that
best.
handshake
Oh,
comment.
she's so good. She is so funny. I love her. Yeah. I'm not one for comedians usually, but that's because I don't always like what passes for comedy. I think comedy is moving in a different direction though. Not where they're making fun of other people all the time. Because that's the kind I don't like. And so it seems to be more like situations or something a little bit more. She I like because of how she does it. She won't make fun of herself. Um, but yeah, any rate, that's why I don't like comedy
Good
shows.
comedians, I like following them because they think for a living, much
Yes.
like what y'all do on your show. It's just a different type of thinking and processing, and anything
Thank
that
you.
where someone is their whole thing is they're going to think and then share that. That I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much agree.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
my
that's
first philosopher comedian was probably Patton Oswalt. I was like, this is a
Yeah.
Ratatouille guy, but he's actually pretty funny in his stand-up routines. But the more I listened, the more I was like, actually, he's pretty profound too. This dude actually
Yeah.
thinks a lot. I mean, there are a lot of comedians that are, shock value and, not interesting or intriguing, but funny jokes. But there are others that it's like, you gotta actually put your thinking cap on to appreciate this comedian. And
Yeah.
Oswalt was one of those. I think the first one for me that I was like, oh, holy shit, comedy can be like intellectually stimulating, not like Dane Cook.
Yeah, Trevor Noah is kind of that way too.
Yeah, very much so. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, what were you saying, Jen? I interrupted you.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I don't remember. I forgot.
Well, I am going to drop in a few minutes, so I just have to do one more thing. I still have my last candle that I have not burned all the way.
Oh, which one is it? His or mine?
It's birch leather and smoked pear, the destroying angel. I don't remember
It's
whose was whose.
Bryce's.
That's mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mine's
Yep.
got the dragon's blood incense in it.
I probably
Yes.
got both, but I liked the leather.
Yeah.
And I burned
Because it was better. Just saying.
It's been too long. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't burn candles very often. So if I do burn a candle, like my family's like, "Is something wrong?" Like, what's going on? It's funny.
I will burn candles more now because I can get the soy candles. Regular candles I can't stand because that waxy smell is always underneath it. But the soy candles, you don't get that. And so I was introduced to the Book Lovers soy candles from Frostbeard Studio. And some people have sent them to me, lots of them. I have one right now going right here in my room. The bookstore one. It's mahogany, leather, and coffee.
Nice.
Bryce, when he was over at my house earlier this year, he liked the Darcy's Parlor one.
Yeah, Darcy's Parlor was good. Oh, that was a good one.
They have a campfire one that it smells quite like a campfire out in the mountains. So you get that kind of the pine tree smell as well as the fire smell and everything. They have a dragon's lair candle, which I was like, duh, though I haven't burnt it. I'm leaving it sitting there in the dragon's lair. So I gotta get some more. But no, they have a bunch that are just fun. There's a new one called Game Master's Guide that I'm curious about, but reading at the cafe is my favorite because it smells like chocolate and coffee. I love both those smells.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
You can get me every time with those. So yeah. Okay, Bryce, Julie has a question for you.
Okay, yes.
Julie, I'll let you ask it since you're here.
He said, are there any other instruments you'd like to take up? What are you currently working on the drums?
Instruments to take up, yes. I think that for my purposes, I think the best instrument would be piano. Because I think it synergizes really well as a percussion instrument. And
It is a percussion instrument.
Yeah, it is,
yeah,
yeah.
and I like so much of drumming is contingent on how well you can keep time at like as a human metronome, and like there's just a lot of very elementary skills that playing piano would give me that I think would help out a bunch
Mhm.
with that. In addition to like, yeah, I like to like create music, but like creating music on drums is it's not
Yeah.
it's not the same as like, plugging a guitar or,
Yeah, it's kind of a bass instrument.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's fun to be creative on it, but at the same
Mhm.
time, like, it's not one that you can like sit down with another musician and be like, "Hey, check out this new sweet riff I just wrote." Like, I mean, you can, but it's like it's not a very musical instrument, I should say. But
True.
yes, piano. And what am I currently working on? I have actually found a new band that I have been trying to learn how to play. They are called Panzer Ballet. It is a metal jazz band, and as the name would connote, a German like metal, Panzer Ballet, right? Metal tap dancing, dancing on the toes, metal. So it's very technical, non-vocal band, and they use really, really weird time, really technical stuff, and it's one of those like I try and play along, and then it hurts my brain, and I get really, really mad at it, and then stop trying for a few days, and then I come back like, all right, I could try it again, and I get a little tiny bit better every time, but it's one of those like tasks where you just have to bang your head against it for hours and hours on end until you finally get it. And I'm in the process of that right now.
Makes sense. Well, nothing easy is fun.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the hard stuff is the fun stuff when you finally get it down. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Because then you get that sense of achievement.
Yeah. And
That was
that
me
like
with Josh
that feels good.
Shostakovich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
right.
does. It
Like
feels
that
really
that
good.
feels really good, but at the same time, it doesn't feel good in the process.
Never
Getting
does.
there
Yeah.
doesn't feel good. It's not fun. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. I remember with a lot of the music classes to do any of the percussion, you had to learn the piano first.
Hmm.
The high school here, in fact, did that as well, which was smart.
Well, it's
American Fork
why
High
I
School.
that's why I did not pick up drums in public school is because I had to
Yeah.
take piano and I hated piano so much. Probably because my
Well,
first and only piano teacher was my grandma and I hated piano.
fair.
Uh,
It's not always good to take from a family member.
no,
Um,
it's
because
almost
it's a
never a
different
good
balance.
idea.
Yeah. It depends on I think it depends on the age of the student because when you're being when you're starting when you're young, most of the time, 98% of the time, the kid is being told basically you're going to do this and it's not really the kid choosing all of it. Um I was unusual with that, but that's because, I was dealing with a handicap on it. And so I was determined to prove that I could because somebody said I couldn't. And so that's, that's a little different. But most of the time, teachers were like, she'll probably quit because they always do, nearly always do, and that's what happens a lot. And so, but when it's an adult who starts taking, it's a whole different mindset.
Mhm.
Because the adult's like, I'm paying for this, I'm all of this, I'm the one who's choosing to do this, everything else. And so it's like the best student I ever had was my nephew, ever. But he started taking as a 30-year-old. And so that was different. One of the most talented students I ever had was my worst because she never practiced. And so we had like 3 or 4 lessons in a row where she hadn't done a damn thing, and I was saying the same things each time and writing down the same things each time for her notebook. And so I just called her mom and said, okay, she's not practicing, so I'm going to cancel lessons until she does. And she got in a hell of a lot of trouble for that. But it's like, that's what you run into, is you would think that somebody who it came to so easily would work at it, would take some pride in it. But that's not always the case. That's not always what happens. And so, yeah, that's one where my nephew was good, but it's not always best way to do it. Family, it's like going to family for counseling, it's a different dynamic, and the teacher-student relationship is vastly different from grandma and grandchild. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense, honestly.
Well, and I think just generally speaking, to an adult who is going to be like paying for lessons is just going to come to it with a totally different motivation set than a kid whose parents are taking them to lessons. And
exactly.
I mean, that's how it's gone for my drum practice now, is that like the teacher recognizes that like this is a hobby that I enjoy doing, that I'm willing to invest time and money into, and therefore he's going to tailor the teaching experience to an adult who is doing a hobby, whereas most of his students are kids or younger.
Yes.
And it works out great. And I'm sure if I were to take piano lessons as an adult, that it would be a vastly different experience than learning from my grandma.
Exactly.
Which was awful for everybody involved.
Exactly.
Hated the whole thing.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is the adult also knows how time is money. They earn the money they're using to pay for these lessons, and they know that they're paying for that person's time, and they want all the time.
Yeah, and it's wasteful if you don't like practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's another thing, is I realized I didn't like having students where everything was just handed to them easily. They didn't understand it takes work. Those were the hardest to work with. Whereas for adults who are adulting and not, trust fund babies or something like that, an adult understands that. And so they put the effort in. They go into it knowing this is going to take up some time. And so, yeah, I love teaching my nephew. I absolutely adored it. And we ended up, we had an hour lesson every other week, but they were always like an hour and a half. Because we would just keep going on something, and he would come out of it going, thank you, I just learned so much from this, and the improvement over that 2-week period was just amazing, and it was fun and everything else. It was just delightful. I didn't dread lessons with him, which I have with some students.
For sure.
So yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, it'd be interesting if you do take piano.
Yeah.
I'll be interested in hearing how it goes.
Yeah, maybe one day. I have my first jam with 2 musicians coming up on Tuesday, tomorrow, I guess it would be. So that's now with guitarist, bassist, and me on drums. And this guitarist is very motivated to play a lot, wants to play and wants to push limits, push boundaries a little bit, which is all the more fun for me, because that makes me want to try new things and fuck around a little bit and see what comes out. So yeah, that's coming up tomorrow. I'm excited to see how it turns out and how these 2 musicians get along with each other.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, yep. Good stuff. Good fun.
So Jen asked us to read an article and discuss it.
Yes.
I just posted it in the chat on YouTube. And the title of this is LDS Church Plan for Parking Lot at Plaza Hotel Site Downtown Likely, go figure, violates city rules. Like the church gives a shit. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
So this was interesting article. It was published on August 21st, so just 4 days ago. And essentially in it, it says the investment arm of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced plans to demolish its Plaza Hotel and shutter JB's restaurant and build a temporary parking lot in their place near Temple Square. It overlooked one potential problem. City code may not allow that kind of move. According to an ordinance
For
that was
now,
updated
dun dun
for
dun.
now. Yes. According to an ordinance that was updated in recent weeks, Salt Lake City will not permit surface parking lots in the downtown area if they are not associated with a building on the property.
Now this, okay, so like, can we just take a step back for a second and just kind of chuckle at this a little bit? All of the zoning fights that the church has had over the temples have not been in the heart of Mordor, right?
Nope.
It's been out, I mean,
True.
on the wings in Wyoming, that's on the wings of Mordor, but then in Texas, that's far outside of the boundaries of Mormon influence. This is talking about Utah, though. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
this article is a snapshot in time for right
Yeah.
now that there's a conflict, but come on, this is not going to be a conflict for very long. I'm
Nope,
just
it
saying
won't.
at the outset, like
Yeah.
this is like let's catch wind and breath of this little bit of a shitstorm going on
Yeah.
and enjoy it while we can, because it's going to be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, the
Yep.
reaction that I've seen is, yay, we get another parking lot that charges us $20 an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
In a spot
Yay.
that doesn't need more parking.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
there's so much parking that,
Exactly.
yeah.
I mean, the location of it, let's see, where did they say, what else is there at the location? Oh God, where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Excuse me for a minute here. Because, let's see.
I'm
Sorry,
also looking
everyone.
for that. Yeah,
Do,
I'm
do,
looking
do,
for
do.
where that is in the paragraph where it talked about that. I
Okay.
will note that there was the conflict is arising from a new city ordinance that was just passed at the beginning of this year, that any parking lot needs to have a building attached to it, and any new parking can only be 40 stalls worth, which
Yes.
makes sense in like the urban planning and urban engineering side of things. You want cities to be more walkable, so therefore you make less parking slots available, and therefore less cars are going to be driving around in that area.
Yes.
So
Okay, they
good.
said parking is also not scarce in the area. Not only does Property Reserve own the hotel and parking structure, the real estate company also owns the lot directly to the west, a nearly 10-acre lot, an entire city block that's dedicated to surface parking. And nearly a third of downtown Salt Lake City is already covered in car parking. And there's the tracks line that's right there and everything else. It isn't necessary.
Right.
So now this is a theocracy here. As much as people like to say otherwise, you know, TBMs and the government, it's a theocracy. Whatever the church wants in Utah, they get.
Now, I want to bring this up too. If this some sort of concession needs to be made, and the church ends up somehow finagling the zoning laws or whatever in order to get a parking lot there, this parking lot, they're tearing down a hotel in order to put a new parking lot in for the temple that is going to be dedicated in 27, right? Once it's rededicated, that's Salt Lake Temple.
Right.
Is that only going to be temple parking?
Exactly that too.
Because if that's the case, then that parking lot is going to stay mostly empty for most days of the week.
Exactly. It's I got the impression they were talking about it being a temporary thing.
Okay.
But it's like, well, what are you going to do next then?
Well, yeah, because I know that they expect more than, or they expect millions, quote unquote, millions of people to come through the rededication and the open house. It's a 6-month open house for the Salt Lake Temple. I might have to make the trip for that.
Take me with you when you go.
Yeah.
too.
And I have somebody
I'll
make
come.
snide remarks too.
It'll be open during Sunstone that year, if I'm not mistaken, because it's April to October.
Yeah, let's
I think.
go.
Okay.
So
Let's
yeah,
do
we
it.
could do it. Yeah.
Because
So
that's
yeah,
the other
but
thing is I need somebody to make little snide remarks to on these
right.
things. It's the only way I make it through.
But if they want this parking lot for the open house and the rededication and everything, that's a hoopla that's going to last for, the first few weeks of the open house when it first opens up, and all the Mormons go through, oh, look at what they've done. Oh, Rusty was
Yeah.
really steering this ship right. And then probably for the last 2 weeks of it that everybody gets in their last kicks. Oh, the open house is about to not be open house anymore. Let's go. And then what? What for this parking lot? What is its job?
Right.
What is its purpose? And if it's just temple lot, only temple patrons are able to park in this parking lot, it's just going to be a blight of empty parking spaces in the middle of downtown Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see why zoning laws exist so that these very things don't happen. But of course, we're talking about the church. We're talking about its pet project, the temple renovations, and Revision Rusty doing his favorite thing, tearing out the old and putting in the new. And we're talking about Utah government. Like,
Right.
what is there even to talk about here?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they said that they'd be okay. Property Reserve, who owns it right now, their plan is to transfer the property to the church following the closure of the hotel, and they will be collaborating with church facilities managers to review plans for the site with Salt Lake City Planning Department to obtain required approvals. So one thing they got to do is either change in zoning to urban institutional, which currently covers Temple Square and the other LDS church buildings, like the church's conference center. And then it would the UI zone parking rules exemption survived the recent downtown parking changes. And so that's a possibility. So in other words, the only way for the parking lot plan to comply with city code would be to either obtain a zoning change from the city or for the LDS church to request a significant variance to parking rules. And how many blocks do they already own down there now?
Right. And underneath those blocks is a huge amount of parking as well.
Exactly. And so are there plans ultimately to just keep owning more property down there? Take over more of Salt Lake
Probably.
City?
Well, I mean, maybe that's the thing that slipped through the cracks on this. Can we talk for a minute about how the church's owned property reserve, which is this for-profit real estate development and everything company, how it is able to just take a for-profit business, a hotel business, and just knock it down and say, this is the church's now, and they can just do that?
Right.
Like they could just fucking do that for whatever
Right.
reason. A huge chunk of commercial property that was owned by one of the church's subsidiaries is now going to be demolished, and its corporate, its potential of raising income for the city in the form of taxes is now reduced to literally zero, and its property taxes that it was collecting as well, in addition to the sales taxes and all the other taxes that are associated with hotels, all of that is now zero tax income, and they're converting a literal commercial plot into an ecclesiastical plot. That's fucking crazy right there, that it can
Yes.
just fucking
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, and
Right.
they made the building all the temples in Utah might be for the same reason. Like to
Yeah.
take up more of Utah.
Maybe,
To
right?
get more of Utah, but it also,
Yeah.
I mean, if they say that this parking lot is temporary, they can sit on it for a long time as putting in the plans for whatever they want to build there, which ties up how much money for future lawsuits, so that though it
Right?
doesn't get determined in future lawsuits.
Right?
Because didn't they just lose one?
Mhm.
Did they?
I'm trying to remember.
I'm not remembering one off the top of my head in the recent
Or
past month or two.
Oh,
think
I'm trying to
yeah.
remember. Or am I thinking of the sex abuse one that's in play right now? Maybe I'm thinking of that. I
Possibly that
can't
one.
remember.
They
Sorry.
they could say we're gonna do it and then just never do it and get their way. Just leave
exactly.
it hanging.
Because
Yeah.
Exactly.
that's another reason for announcing temples in places like Russia and China where they don't even have any fucking approval. But they can tie up how many millions of dollars with that
Hmm. As you know,
because then
apportioned
it's
Yeah.
for
yeah,
development. Yeah.
right. And so that's another thing is eventually they're going to lose one.
Yeah.
They will lose a lawsuit. There's enough of them they're getting slammed with, and they're getting stronger and stronger. I think the tithing lawsuits, I have a hard time believing anyone is going to, beat the church on that the church will lose on any of those
Right.
because it comes down to a donation. The closest thing was the Huntsman one,
Yeah, and his
because,
dad's.
and yeah, and with him, I mean, that got thrown out recently because but his actually had, I think, better legal standing than most of the others because he's saying, hey, it wasn't used the way it was supposed to be used.
Yeah,
The
for
only
sure.
reason I donated it was for it to be used this way. And so, they got away, the church got away with that. But these sexual abuse ones have a bit of a stronger leg to stand on than tithing.
Mhm.
It's still iffy. It still can go either way, but what they are desperately doing is tying up as many funds as they can so that there's less available to go on any lawsuit they lose.
I mean, potentially, yeah. Because they just have literally a couple $100 billion burning a hole in their bank accounts, right? Like,
Yes.
so if they can find something to spend it on, park it in real estate. And I don't know if Utah has this, but I know there are other cities that have laws like this that essentially the city will subsidize development of like corporate office buildings and whatnot. But then if the builder of those buildings remains at a certain level below the occupancy level, then they get a tax write-off. They get to like write it off as a loss every year. So there are certain cities, and I don't know if Salt Lake City is one of these, but there are certain cities that people are incentivized to build corporate office buildings and keep them below 50% tenancy in order to take a loss that they can roll over into tax credits for the next year and the next year in perpetuity. And I mean, the church, I don't see it buying up and building a bunch of corporate offices right now. But I mean, this sure reeks like they might do something like that of, oh, well, we have it slated to develop, something here, an appendage to City Creek Center, or this is, another part of the, Temple Square. We're going to put a museum here. We're going to put a library here, or whatever. They could reasonably tie it up for decades, and it just remains an empty lot.
We're going to put in a park with more creepy ass statues, like the recent ones. They are
Right?
creepy as fuck.
They are creepy as fuck.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm always suspicious of anything they do.
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, this reeks more of Oaks than Nelson to me. Because this feels like it's not as much as I mean, Nelson, so much of what Nelson is doing these days feels like an old man who's losing his marbles or lost his marbles. Whereas Oaks feels like this is something planned for a decade from now and it's setting things in motion. And so that's another thing that's kind of interesting to me is this one feels like it's covering up something else.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
is a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be thinking about all of that. And there's
Mhm.
this sex
All those
abuse
loopholes.
lawsuit. Yes, all the loopholes, every single one of them. Yeah, he's I don't know. He's makes me nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 27, hopefully Nelson's gone by then. Oh my God, can you
Yeah.
imagine if he wasn't?
Fingers crossed.
If he was like
Oh, God.
102?
101 this year.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck, he'd be 103.
What, in
That would just
3 weeks, I
be,
think. 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, he turns
oh
101
my
in like
God.
2 or 3 weeks now.
Oh God.
I
That's
remember
so-
his
so awkward.
birthday better than I remember my spouse's birthday. That's a problem right there. That's not
I
good.
just keep not remembering it. I'm like, not gonna remember any of it. No.
Yeah.
Oh God. I still remember when he was put into the Quorum of the 12. Yeah. Oh God. Him and Nelson at the same time.
Uh-huh.
I remember that very well.
Yep. Really
We were all
shepherding the
like,
church well.
yeah, I was like, I remember the big talk then was, oh, Nelson's got ties with China and also open up China for everybody and yada, yada, yada. And I can't remember what it was for Oaks besides him being BYU president. Because it seemed like that was kind of the thing is BYU presidents, get them in there as much as possible.
Not
Even though
Supreme
Holland
Court
came later.
justices.
Yeah. It seemed like there was something else with him. I just remember most it was Nelson with the ties to China.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we got an Oaks deep dive coming here in the next few months, so
Yay.
whatever it is, we'll find it.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh,
Oh
that's going to be
God, that's going to be
so
interesting.
fun. So fun to look through his past legal writings and everything. Oh, what fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Good times.
Good times. Good times.
We would be caught so flat-footed if he died right before we could.
Oaks is the one who died and not hiring Nelson or
I know. What if Oaks died first? That would be
Holland.
so weird.
Nelson and
Just
Oaks.
be like, wait,
Car
what?
crash, both of them gone at the same time.
You know they don't dare travel together.
No,
They're
of
like
course
the
not.
president and the vice president. Oh my God. Oh.
Wow.
Besides, Nelson needs his whole entourage of medical people.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, right.
He's probably not traveling though. He's probably
Yeah, I doubt
His
he gets out of
traveling
bed
is
most
to the
days.
conference center for general
yeah.
conference.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody loves me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Just let
Oh,
him sail off into the sunset. We
it's
don't need
time.
him kicking around anymore.
Give him a Viking burial. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, yes. Have an archer shoot the boat with a
That's
flaming
what I
arrow.
think of now. Every time I hear that saying sail off into the sunset is I think Viking funeral.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's where it came from.
He doesn't deserve it.
No. Speaking of all that, I actually finally sat down and watched Thor Love and Thunder the other day, and I'm like, this is shit. Okay. This is not even as funny as it wants to be.
Well, I'm glad you watched it
Okay.
instead of me, so I didn't have to suffer
And
through.
I'm like, why did I just watch this movie? Okay, fine. All right.
Because
know,
it
it
was
didn't
the
get
next Thor movie.
Well, I was like, I should probably. And there's a few and everything, and there's some scenes from it I've seen, and I was like, I would like to see Russell Crowe play Zeus, and
Mhm.
because I knew that they wanted him to speak with an English accent, and he really pushed to speak with a Greek one, and they finally filmed it one time with him speaking in a Greek accent and realized he was right, which I was like, okay, let's see Russell Crowe play Zeus, and he did a good job.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's like the whole movie, I was like, this is just dumb. This is stupid. Thor Ragnarok was also not that great, but it did have more funny moments than this one did, and this one intended to be. But there was a few countries they refused to show it in unless they took out all of the pro-gay scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of
since they
course.
wouldn't take those out, these countries wouldn't show it.
Hmm.
There's a couple of those. I think Endgame was another one they wouldn't show. I'm trying to remember if that's the one. Because the Valkyries, they were also lesbians. And so the last remaining Valkyrie in these, she was very much so. And so they wouldn't take out any of the scenes with that, which I was like, that was a good call. That's why I ended up watching it because I'd seen that being said. So, but I was just like, okay, this is stupid.
Speaking of,
He's really stupid.
I guess
Yes.
not Russell Crowe, but for whatever reason, Russell Crowe always reminds me of this actor. I went and saw the live action How to Train Your Dragons.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
And yeah, it was delightful. Absolutely delightful. I feel like it
I
was well
haven't.
done. It was a well, it
Uh-huh.
recreated the cartoon quite well. And, there's always elements that you can't recreate in
Yeah.
live action scenes that come from
Mhm.
cartoons. But even so, with those problems, I feel like they did a pretty good job. It was
Yeah, and
delightful.
Gerard Butler, who was still stoic in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And he actually played Stoic, which was great. He's a great Stoic.
He is. Well,
But I
it's
don't know
like the
why
part was
Russell
written
Crowe
for
and
him.
Gerard Butler just remind me of each other so much.
That's really weird.
Okay.
I can't see the resemblance at all. In any way, sorry. Favorite Russell Crowe movie? Let's see. What would be my favorite Russell Crowe movie? It's not Gladiator, actually. I think my favorite,
Mm.
well, actually, I guess you could say Russell Crowe with Gladiator and Gerard Butler with 300 would be something similar. Anyway, but the Russell Crowe one is my favorite, actually. He plays a newspaper reporter, and I'm trying to remember what it was called.
Mhm.
It's embarrassing that it's my favorite of his films, and I can't remember the name of it.
I just remember as Javert and Les Mis.
I liked him as that. I know a lot of people complain about it, but I actually liked it because he's so tight-laced in it.
Mhm.
Because Javert is.
Yeah.
He was so completely focused, just like blinders on, that he was going to
Mhm.
get Valjean, whatever it took. And it was like, that's all he cared about. He had one goal and he didn't care about
Mhm.
anything else, not eating, not sleeping, not anything else. He didn't give a shit, just that. And so everything about him, the way he sang, the way he moved, the way he did everything, it was just like, I'm going to get him no matter what it takes. Even if it's illegal, I'm going to do it. And so that's why I like the way he played the part. That's my favorite version of Les
Mhm.
Mis I've ever seen, including every stage performance of it that I've seen, which is like 4 different ones, I think. But that's my favorite.
Yeah, the concerts are pretty good. Have you seen those?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Like
I
the 25th and like 15th or something?
mm-hmm. Yes. That one is really lovely. I loved this partly because of the emotional effect of them singing everything live.
Mhm.
That's a whole different effect than recording it. And also because they didn't play the prostitutes for laughs. Though that was the other reason. Everyone else makes them comic relief. Every other
Mhm.
performance I've ever seen makes them comic relief. And he did not,
Yeah.
this director chose not to. And so you see them bringing, what's her name?
Yeah.
Into, you know who I'm talking about, the
Mhm.
mom, Cosette's mom, into them, basically saying, it's easier if you just jump in the deep end.
Yeah, I've never
Just
said.
do it all of it at
Mhm.
first. Just get it all done. It's harder if you inch your way in. It's harder. It takes
Yeah.
longer. It rips more out
Mhm.
of you than if you just jump in to the deep end and get it
Mhm.
over with. And I
Yeah.
found it much more compassionate than anyone else has ever done.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always taken Lovely Ladies as really serious.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like they're going through yeah, there's like lines in it that makes it like, oh my gosh, they're going through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really see that. And you see that, because then there were very, very, very few options for women.
Mhm.
And that was one of the last ones,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even something the women could always choose. And this is still to this day,
Mhm.
is they can't always choose to go into it. They quite often fall into it and have to
Yeah.
just do it. And I found the way he filmed it, I forgot the name of the director, but the way I forget so many names, everybody, sorry, it's a hard thing, um, is that you see much more compassion from them than Mean Girls. And
Mhm.
every other director I've ever seen plays them as Mean Girls. And this one did not. And I loved how that was done. It had me crying
Mhm.
watching that scene. And so what is it? What is her name? Fontaine?
Yeah, Fantine.
Yeah, that's her name. Her song, and Hathaway sang that so powerfully. That's another thing that had me crying.
Mhm.
Yeah, that film was really done well. I think the weakest one out there was the adult Cosette. It's the worst singer on the stage on the whole film. I was like,
Yeah.
all right,
Well,
the
you're a
child
kid.
Cosette was a better one than you. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't care for Cosette anyway. I think she's weak. I like Eponine better. Everybody
Yeah.
likes Eponine better.
Everybody
Marius
likes,
is a
yeah.
weak ass piece of shit who falls for the beautiful girl because she's beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, Charles Bingley. Okay. Tale as old as time. All right.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic filming.
Yeah.
Oh, and the scene between Valjean and Javert when they sing the duet, I've always loved that one,
Yeah.
and I thought that was filmed well. That's my favorite duet
Oh
in
yeah, the one. Yeah, the
yes,
confrontation. There's
the confrontation.
yeah, there's I think it's the like 20th anniversary. That Trevor has a really deep voice and he
Yeah,
makes it sound really good.
he did. He
Yeah.
did. I'm also glad that the first guy who played Valjean was brought in for the film as well,
Yeah.
and they said he left at Hugh Jackman going, yeah, you get to have fun with these romance songs. Yeah. And it was so fun watching Hugh Jackman show his musical theater props
Mhm.
because I mean that's where he started was
Yeah.
musical theater. And so yeah, that was fun. But yeah, any rate,
Mhm.
I liked that one. Oh God, Hugh Jackman. I did finally watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
Hmm.
That was good. That was really good.
I don't think I've seen that,
I haven't.
which is weird
I
because
like
I
the
love the
Deadpool
Deadpool
movies.
movies.
The
I
Deadpool
really
movies
enjoy
are
them.
just fun. And I was like, how are they going to make this work? And they made it work. But I was like, it is Deadpool. And God, they fucking made it work. They did really well with it, actually. So,
Delightful.
yeah, it was.
Yeah. I saw Freakier Friday. That was
Did
surprisingly
you?
good. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I liked it.
So I was like, oh God, no, not again.
Lohan is back, everybody.
Yes. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jamie Lee Curtis, though.
Yeah.
I just like her as a person, too.
Yeah, and the guy
Yeah.
that plays Jason Mendoza in Good Place was in it.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Delightful.
It's not, I mean, it's not my favorite storyline. Well, I don't know if it's done right. I mean, I did like the original. But that's also because oh fuck, what's her name?
Mhm. Uh,
She played Clarice. Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster was in it. As a child, as a young teenage actor, she was in the original.
yeah.
I don't remember the actress who played her mother, but you know, and that was kind of fun, but that was like my growing up years. Jodie Foster, God, that's a woman who's got a fantastic career.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, anyway, I can talk movies all day forever. I actually, you know, it's not that I don't like the Freaky Friday type of storyline. I just like it when it's written well,
Mhm.
because I actually seen a lot of, or read a lot of books where that's done, and well, there's a lot in the Jaffe universe where they've been done, and it's been done really, really well. Quite often, it's actually Darcy and Elizabeth who switch, which are fun. But recently, I read one where it was Elizabeth and Mrs. Bennet. There's also a bunch where it was like somewhere it's Darcy and Collins, or it's Elizabeth and Caroline and stuff. But this one with Elizabeth and her mother was interesting because she learned more compassion towards her mom. And that's one thing I always like to see. She started seeing her mom as a human being.
Mrs. Bennet always is the butt of so many jokes. Like,
she is, and she doesn't deserve to be.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
She
really
has a
doesn't deserve
reason
to
to
be.
act the way she does.
She does.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
has a very legitimate reason. And she also has severe anxieties that are made worse by the situation and by her husband. And so, I mean, her husband's the villain in the story here. But yeah, she just gets a bad rap all the time. And so I always like it when there's somebody showing compassion towards her, when our authors do, because then it's like, okay, now they understand. Because that's one of the few things I like about the 2005 film is a line from her that's not from the book. And it's when Lizzie says to her, "Is this all you ever think about?" And she says, "When you have 5 daughters with no dowries, tell me what you will think about." It's not
Yeah.
from the book.
I actually like the 2005 film because it does make you think about like the other characters and what they're going through. They do that for a
There's a
lot
little
of
bit
the
more
other
there.
characters. Yeah.
There's a little bit more. There's so much where you just, I mean, it's not the book. It's definite fan fiction, its own vagary. Um, and so that's one of the problems I have with it. Because I mean, they changed Darcy's character in it, and he's not proud. He's just shy as fuck. And that's one of the things about him, is just painfully shy. And that's why that's why I like the 1980 miniseries best, because David Rintoul, I think, played him better than any, because he's got the granite face Darcy pride going better than anyone else, even Colin Firth. And the best walking Darcy scene, which I think they were trying to do better in the 2005, but I was like, no, this is just Heathcliff walking through the half dressed, walking through the mist. I was like, you're never going to see Darcy out like that, half dressed. But anyway, is in the 1981, after he gives her the letter and she sits down to read it, he walks away to Rosings, and the camera follows him the whole way, just pulls back further and further and further. And you see that stiff body walking as you're hearing the voiceover of the letter, and you realize that's when you really see that he is full of that pride that you see in him, is him with that British stiff upper lip, yes, but that there's so much going on underneath that he's not going to show. And you see it, you realize it watching him walk away, perfectly upright, perfect posture, never slowing down, never speeding up, never any of that, just walking evenly all the way to Rosings. And this camera pulls back more and more and more as he walks into the distance. It's the best walk scene I've ever seen. And it was fantastic, because you get the feeling of what Darcy actually is, because he doesn't change in the book at all. He doesn't change. He's still the same at the end as he was at the beginning. You just see him inside. The person who changes is Elizabeth. Yeah. And so anyway, yes, I started on Pride and Prejudice, everybody. You knew I was going to come.
It was just a matter of time. It was when,
It was
not if.
inevitable. It is inevitable. I am inevitable. Name that movie.
I don't know. But
It's
you've
the
referenced
last
it
two.
so many times.
Infinity War and Endgame of Avengers. It came from Thanos. Thanos says it. I am inevitable. Snap.
I should watch those movies.
You should watch them with me.
Because like they're the last like of good Avengers movies, right?
They are. They are definitely the
So-
last of them. And it finished things, and it was great. It was really good. And I was like, there's not much more you can do.
Cool. Except continue to make
So-
more and more and more and more and more.
But then I was like, yeah, this is Marvel. The comic books kept doing it too, and they like to resurrect people and all that shit. So
course.
whatever.
That's how we
Okay,
do. That's how we
fine.
do. Oh, and this character had spontaneous amnesia, and now they think that they're a jet plane.
Yep, for sure. Okay, this guy, we're done with him being good. He gets to be bad now.
That's right. Yep.
They all
Evil
do it.
twin.
Everybody does it.
And now we have good twin Loki.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston was good as Loki.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. I mean, it's good casting with the Avengers. They did a good job with the casting.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is like the movies themselves stand alone, like each and every one of them. It's a spectacle, right? It's great to watch. Each character
they are
is just
fun.
They got the goodest quips and all that.
They do. And it's like you don't go into those expecting a lot of layers.
Yeah.
You don't. They're just entertainment. They're bubblegum movies. They're entertainment.
Nothing wrong with that.
Whatever. There's nothing. We need those. We all need those.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we need the ones with layers, but it's like that's what we need in all of our entertainment is all kinds, so that you're ready for whichever one you want to go see. Mm-hmm. We still need to all watch Slipper and the Rose. We need Tanner involved with that too.
Yes.
All right. I'm down.
And we need to have you see Hamilton too.
I know. I do need to watch that.
We need to watch Hamilton with you.
Yes.
It's so good.
And
Tanner would love that too.
I know. That would be fun. Oh my God. Yeah. Slipper and the Rose. That will be fun. I guess I'm the only one of us four who's seen it.
I think I saw the stage version.
There's not a stage version of that one.
Yeah. I saw like when I was a kid. Like
I have never heard of a stage version. Yeah. There's Cinderella stage version.
Could have been a legal
musical.
Could have been a legal one because that theater did illegal ones.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that there's I'd be interested in seeing it if there was one, but I mean it could be performed on the stage. It just because it's a musical on the film. But yeah, that's one. It's a fun one. Yeah. I love it. Characters who lack a lot of layers reminds me of a book we read a while ago. Let's see, what was that one? Oh, what was it? What was that again? It was something people think is the best thing that's ever been written. Oh yeah, Book of Mormon.
It's the most corrected thing that's ever
written. It's the most corrected.
The most edited book.
10,000
It is, Not counting the times the corrections Grandin had to do, putting in punctuation.
Yeah, that'd be multiple tens of thousands.
Yeah.
We're talking about those.
Yeah, that's not even counting those. Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anything else to wrap us up? I mean, kind of just been waffling around and just hanging out here for an hour,
word vomiting.
almost hour 45, just word vomiting.
I think Jen had another question.
Did
she did, but I think she missed that we actually already covered that on a Sunstone episode.
Okay.
Favorite Sunstone.
She wanted Sunstone highlights, which we did do that a couple episodes ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
we met her at Sunstones, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's an interesting person to chat with.
She is. She really is. And so the background she comes from is fascinating, and she's a Nevermo. And so it's fun getting that. Because that's another thing I've realized too is until I got back in the middle of a bunch of TBMs, because I was at a birthday party for a woman. She turned 90. She's from my first ward here, and here in Utah, I should say. But she invited me and my dad and sister and all them to come to her party. So I'm sitting there talking to people in there, and I forgot what it was like to be in the middle of a bunch of Mormons in Utah. And because I mean, my family, they know that what I do. And so they don't ask me questions. I don't, we're not trying to convert each other to the other side. We have other conversations, and so we don't find it necessary to do any of that. But with them, I was in there, they're all assuming I'm still goody girl, TBM, good true, good girl thing. So they're all talking to me like all of that. And so hearing things like, well, it is the last days, and so with this going on, so it's just like gonna bring Christ here sooner and yada yada and all that shit. And I was just like, oh my God, I forgot what this was like. Holy shit.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm in there and it's at a church, of course, the whole thing. And I was just like, okay, and I'm watching my mouth the whole time because everyone knows I have a potty mouth. And so I'm trying to be careful and everything. But when I left, when I was able to be alone in my car, not in the same car as where my dad was, I'm just like, holy fucking shit, that was a shit show. That was the biggest fucking
A
it's like,
string
I've
of
had enough.
Grolixes out Shannon's car window, like a cartoon.
Oh my God. I was like, okay, I'm so glad I'm not in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
yes, it all came to pass. That's it. It
yeah.
all
Yeah.
passed.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
my
it's a weird
God.
feeling.
Yeah,
It
it's weird.
is.
Yeah, because like you know that world so well, but like you're not in it anymore, and that's just like
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
And
you
that,
stepped out of the furnace and then had decided to go just take a dip back in it just for a second to feel what it was like.
yeah,
And it's like, oh, it was really hot in there. I remember
yeah,
now.
I remember now. And I'm glad it wasn't church. Church would have been more traumatic.
Mhm.
But this was me sitting and talking to people and trying to talk in such a way I didn't tell them what's going on with me. And so, because I was like, this is not the place where I'm going to be like, yeah, I co-host an anti-Mormon podcast.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, knowing
Don't
the time and
shit.
place.
yeah.
Yep, you don't
Yeah.
shit where you live. Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, that was,
100%.
oh God, I was LARPing, total LARPing. Thank you,
There you
Will.
go. Thank you, Will. Forever and ever, thank you, Will.
Yes,
LARPs get me through the day.
they do.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that
Well,
was
I think we'll
fun.
bring that to a close then.
Mhm.
And next time around, I think we need to do a book club next time.
We
Yes,
do.
we haven't done
We
that in a
haven't
while.
done one for a while.
Yeah, post
I
up
have a
and
few
see
ideas,
what
but it's like,
genre or what people want to vote
yeah,
for. I think we should do that.
yes, we do. And that will be fun because I even have a few ideas if somebody doesn't pick one, but we'll have some fun. I
Awesome.
know of one that friend from Serbia wants us to do.
Aha, very good.
And
She has a lot
yes,
of ideas.
she does. She does. And she's brought this one up 3 times with me. And I'm like, probably should do
We should probably do
that.
that.
And that's when I'm like, should we go ahead and ask a question or just go with that? Because she keeps bringing it up as something she wants us to do. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's have that be our next one. If you are a patron
Okay.
supporter of the show, patreon.com/glassboxpod, then you will see.
Patreon.com. So oh God, I still can't.
Still can't. No, a little more practice. Another couple weeks practice. You got this.
Sure.
No, if you are a
Patreon.com.
supporter of the show at that URL that we have been talking about, then you will see it'll either be a thread or a poll to vote for a genre and therefore a book that we can do for the next time around, or we might even just conclude Shannon and I on the back end, like, no, let's do the one from Serbia. That sounds like a good
Yes.
book. And we might just do that one, and that'll be our next get together, our next hangout. And because we missed the entire summer, I would like to get in a September hangout right before General Conference as well. So maybe we can aim for that. I think that would be good for myself anyway, for my own mental well-being. Have some hanging out with some cool people before I have to cloister and
Dive in.
recluse myself for General Conference weekend. That's always my preference.
Oh God, yes.
So let's plan on doing this next month and do a book club episode. Does that sound good?
Okay.
Yes. That'll be
Sounds
fun.
do
good.
it. Very
I
good.
always
Very
love
good.
talking books.
Cool.
You
Well,
know
let's
me.
do that.
Yay.
And for everyone else who is not a patron supporter, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. Thanks
Yes.
for the patron supporters who did join us on the panel, Jeff and Julie. We love you all so much. Y'all are the best. And we will see you next time around on the live stream hangout where we do these
For sure.
things, these live stream things. All right.
Absolutely.
See you later.
Good night, everybody. Okay.
And